This is how words corrode our perception. In today's video, I won't really be following a script, but hopefully I can get this point across to you in an understandable manner. Essentially, we use words as a first level of perception. Words themselves are an abstraction of the things we perceive. For example, when I look at a tree, I think that's a tree. I've assigned a label to it, and it exists within my mind as that label. However, this is a very disconnected process. By assigning a label and not perceiving the entity as it were, it exists in our mind as something that isn't what it truly is. It exists as that label. Like if we were to look at a modern human versus, for example, a caveman, we can see that, let's say the modern man, his wife dies. In his chest, he will feel, oh, my heart fell, and I felt this negative feeling, and everything's described and labeled. And so whenever he is to recall and look back upon this memory, but he looks back and he can only remember the label and not the feeling/action itself, right? This reality has been corroded. It's been corroded into this abstraction of what it once was. And that's why we don't feel present at all. It's because we live through abstraction. If we were to go to the caveman, on the other hand, that he wouldn't have the words to describe it. The feeling is felt in its entirety. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. It's raw and it's true. And when he recalls and refers back to that memory, it is the exact same as it once was. It does not get diluted within the mind. It is what it is. And how did this really affect how I approach life later on? I realized that most people, including myself, tended to live life in this disconnected manner where everything had a label and we basically lived life through this abstraction. But obviously, that's why most people don't feel present, right? We've always heard the present is a gift. That's why it's called the present, right? And we can achieve this through meditation. Now, thinking about all of this, it has occurred to me that these things are very intrinsically related with psychedelics themselves, right? When you meditate and you observe your reality, you observe your surroundings, you're not attaining words to the situation. You're just observing, right? You feel very connected, and then ultimately these leads into the ideas of life surging within all of us and how we're not that disconnected from one another. We all live on the same floating rock in the end of the day, and the life on that floating rock is us, as well as the birds and the bees. We all are intertwined in the end of the day. And this conclusion from meditation itself does find itself in many recorded reviews of psychedelic use, right? If we were to look at, for example, psilocybin from mushrooms, right? A lot of the feelings of being connected to the earth and grounded while perceiving the world with no labels, right? The lack of abstraction, the pure rawness of living itself. We can find this in meditation. So essentially, I think we all need to consider meditating more, being more present, because that's what a lot of people lack today, is just simply being present. there are so many distractions, especially with modern technology and social media, right? People don't live in order to experience, they're living in order to share. And just as that dilutes reality in the same way that words do, we really have to be not strong-minded, but not loose either, but quite free and aware. And with all of that being said, I think that will conclude today's video. Thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions, put them down in the comments. I'm trying to grow, so you know what I'm trying to say, Young G. Peace.